Here it is. I'm going to leave it here for you to decide. This is the only clip from when Mike popped up on the stream for the interview to the end of when Mike gets down off the stream at the end of the interview. This is it. This is what I got. I'm taking this out of the whole video and bringing it to you just in its entirety. Here it is. This is the clip. We're just going to listen to it together. And you can decide if me telling this man that I thought he was so great and that I loved him as a human being and all that shit was worth this interview. You can decide. Yay or nay. This was the finality, the end, el fin, to Mike Dibble on my channel. And I was so happy to get this over with. And here's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
You sound down, Mike. What are you down about? Is it because of all this shit? Are you getting just fed up with it?
No, I'm not, dude. I'm not down with him.
Yeah, it don't sound good.
I'm just reading the comments, that's all.
You gotta get out of those comments, buddy. Stay up here with me in heaven.
I know, but you know what? It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, man, a lot of conversation. And all right, Mike, let's go for a hard question that people want to know. Man, all I wanted to know is after the charges, the sexual charges got dropped, now the conditions of probations are relaxed to where you can be on the internet and you don't have to go to any classes. And the first, none of
that paperwork when you drop 23 and 24 says anything about internet, anything of anything. Now, when you file or when you get charged or fall under a 290 term, hell yeah, everything fucking applies. Like, no internet, no this, no that, fucking this, that, and the other. I mean, they throw it at you.
And that's because it has to do with registration as a sex offender.
Yeah, it's all fucking, when they went and recorrected all that shit, because honestly, even my fucking lawyer did not even fucking notice what the judge was saying. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit. Like, I'm not cool with fucking others. Like, what the fuck is this judge saying out of his mouth, you know?
What are your thoughts based on the Imperial County talent? Judges, lawyers, prosecutors.
Oh, dude, it fucking sucks, man. Don't get caught up in that fucking situation down there, man. I did make very close relations with my detective. You know, he personally thinks of me like family. And I talk to him every single day, you know, and we share our day with each other. And I mean, he's a fucking good dude, man.
Cool. I'm going to ask you some things real quick, man. I want to ask another, you know, we're going to flip back and forth, and these are just like, you know, some of these might be hard questions, but did you have sex with anyone on the 4th of July, 2018?
Did I have sex with anybody?
Yeah.
If it would be anybody, it would have been Sandra. Sandra and I were very intimate with each other, even though we would never call each other boyfriend and girlfriend, but we always were together.
Okay. I mean, I want to ask, you know, because there was a lot of people at that party, and, you know, you were definitely the center of attention. We got that big YouTube channel and everything, and everybody was there for you. So I wanted to ask, I got to take a time out. Just so you know, this is me suffering from a pot smoke cough that I can't get over yet. So I hit it, and then I thought I was over it, and it was still tingling my throat. So I tried to talk through it, which made it worse. Then I had to mute my mic and really give it a cough. But I still wasn't through it. Yeah, you'll notice I'm having a hard time getting through this little bit. So I don't remember exactly how this went down, but I think the bowl I hit, a piece of weed also came through the bowl and caught me in the throat. So you'll hear me dealing with coughing the entire time.
Go ahead.
Save me.
It's good to talk to you. You know, there's a lot of people in the comment section that are really triggered. It's a super touchy situation. But it seems like under the 290.
And that's me saying, save me to him for him to take over, because I have to mute my mic and try to get this shit out of this buzz out of my throat.
If that is off the table, then the misdemeanor charges from there. What you're telling us. Now, can you allude to Allison? She said that she called your probation officer, and your probation officer said that you are not allowed to be on the internet without prior.
And you'll see the difference between the way Dave and I do these interviews. David is watching the chat, and skimming, like fishing for good questions. That's not a bad thing at all. I don't need to do it because I'm full of them. Like, the questions come to me anyway. Now, when I'm starting to run out, I definitely will. Or if someone else is talking to the guest I have, I'll look in the chat, and if a good question comes up, I'll use that question. I'm not saying I'm better than that at all. I'm just saying that I've got plenty of my own questions usually, right? So it just needs to take time for me to ask them. It's about, it's about timing. It's about when's the right time to get into this question. How comfortable is the guest with you that you can ask this question? How much of a relationship do you have beyond YouTube? How skeptical might they be if I don't want them to just be like, oh my God, and dip. So you got to kind of build up to it. But also there is an issue when you're fucking coughing on yourself.
There's people that will argue the fact. The fact is I am allowed. Period.
Thank you for clearing that up. I'm trying to ask questions that people don't think that Eddie or I would ask, because that's what's going to get you back around people, is just showing the discovery and showing the stuff that...
He's right here. This was the whole thing. He was supposed to show us documentation right here. He promised it. This is why a lot of people didn't see this interview as the complete fail that it was for him. He never showed us any documents. And here's where David saved this interview, was by putting him on the spot and giving him the opportunity to do what he told us he would do. And he still refused to do it. It'll get into more questions, obviously, but here he is, and I got to give David credit here. He's saying the thing out loud. Hey man, where's the documentation that you've been telling us will prove that you're innocent?
But you know what? Here's the thing, though, Mike. Is it their business? That's another thing, though. Is all of this their business?
No, it's not. But if they want to make it their business, then make it their business and do their own damn research. Good job, buddy. Did it? You did it. You know what? Like, I have no time for it. I'm enjoying, redoing my life, just rebuilding, and it's been slow and steady, I guess.
You're not allowed Dibble on the internet. It's just, the thing is, he's right here. That's the thing, man. Here's the deal. Why would he on with me now, or Jose then, to go back to jail? That's so stupid. His appearance here right now should tell you that we're not bullshitting you when we say, looks like he doesn't have to follow those terms of 290.
Now, Mike, have you been to any of the classes on the condition of probation, the sexual classes?
No. Okay. I have none.
Now, here's my next question for the chatters, for the people that are just in your fee-fees.
My lawyer just texted me today, and I sent that information over to Good Job Buddy. And it is, it's, I always say it is what it is, and that's the facts.
Okay, now there's people that want to talk to you. Rihanna Rose, Good Job Buddy, drop a link. She has a lot to say. Apparently you can't go to St. Pete because she's there. Osceola, Florida wants you. You got all this stuff to answer for. But Rihanna, I'm not going to do your...
And that is David's style of operating versus mine. Like, he reads the chat and sees these things, whereas at this moment I'm engaged with these two fellas. So, he has he's able to disengage with the conversation we're having and then read and understand the chat, whereas I'm focused on Mike. And I've got questions in my head I want to ask, but the timing isn't yet. And you'll see, you got to stick them in there where they make sense so they aren't alarming.
Job. Well, why don't you come up here? This is an open platform. Tyke tells us about it all the time. Get out.
Tyke is waiting in the basement. Tyke, hang in there. Mike, did Zane Green ever make you break your hand or hurt your hand punching something because you're mad at Zane Green?
No.
Okay,
no, Zane Green, no. I got frustrated one day and punched the door. I did that. Yeah.
Did you break your hand?
No.
Okay, because he likes to brag how you broke your hand when you were mad at him.
No.
I just want to clear that up, too. We're clearing up all the messes. You know what I mean? All right, so that question was an easy question. So it's two guys' story, right? Either one could be right. Who knows? I threw it out there as a softball. But watch how I follow this up. Rumors. It's been a minute, homie, since you've been available to clear up some rumors. So we're going to clear them all up. If we can remember them all. There's been so many, Mike. But here's the thing I want to say. It would be, if I was in your shoes and I didn't do this and I had pled out because I thought, okay, I can accept that I was somewhat responsible there. You know, okay.
As a camp owner, as a camp creator, you know, as a responsible, I guess, parent.
So how I did this was to begin talking as if I was Mike. Right? And then I go, okay. Hoping Mike will pick up the rest of the conversation. And just like I was taught when I was taught how to do this, he picked up the rest of the conversation.
First, because I am a parent, and as a responsible camp, I guess, creator, owner, I said, all right, that's palatable. All right, child endangerment. All right, so it could be possible that the kid could have got endangered while he was on the property and theoretically in my care, but he was playing with all the animals and just being a kid, just like a kid should be. You know, I was terrorized.
So Mike is telling you, just like a kid should be. In America, a kid on the 4th of July, 2018, should be in 115-degree heat, playing with the livestock, and running around a desert camp with a bunch of drug addicts. Known that there were a bunch of drug addicts. Not that everybody was, but there were a bunch. And then other addicts to whatever they're addicted to. What they were socially, what those two young boys were socially exposed to is so much more than your average, 10 and 8-year-old boys. So much more. But Mike is trying to, in this sentence, in this explanation, he's trying to dumb it down to where it sounds like just any old family out doing any old thing. Where he's taking responsibility because, yeah, maybe there were some things they could have got into that hurt him. Dude, the fact that there were two boys, 10 and 8 or whatever, in the 115-degree weather of Slab City in July was already child endangerment.
Everything. And they were too. They were terrorizing the chicken and, but they were pretty good kids, to be honest with you.
You know where they slept? They were terrorized in the chicken coop. So the chickens scared the boys, but not being so thirsty that their toes were dry.
I taught the one kid how to shoot a damn pellet gun. You know, I mean, and I took him fishing and fucking everything else.
How old were they? Before we get to how old they were, Mike just now, after I gave Mike the leash, just now admitted to taking the kids shooting the pellet gun, taking the kids fishing, taking the kids everything else. He's just now admitted to being alone with these children on several occasions. You are welcome.
I don't know, man. Like, I want to say like 5 and 8.
Oh, golly. Listen to that. Listen to that sigh. The sigh after he says 5 and 8. God damn. Listen to that. Let's hear that again. How old were they?
I don't know, man. Like, I want to say like 5 and 8.
Okay. The original charging document said a child. It's so exhausting to carry that around, right? Under 14 and a child under 10. So, I didn't know if that was, anything indicating their ages, or it's just the way the law works, their letter of the law. Do you know where those boys slept that night on the 4th of July?
In their own room, next to the Adobe hut. Actually, it was.
So Mike just told you that those boys had their own room there. So they've been there long enough to go out on shooting trips with Mike, on fishing trips with Mike, and, quote, all kinds of things. And they have their own room.
Is Caveman's old room. That's where they always slept. Because honestly, they pissed the fucking bed. And
so that's where they always slept, because they pissed the bed. They slept in Caveman old room. So they were there a lot. Mike's telling you, they were there a lot. They were there more than David was. These kids were there when David was there. Had to be. The timeline doesn't work, man. Mike is talking about they have their own room. They slept in their own room. All this got let out in front of you, and many of you didn't see what Mike was admitting to. But I sure as fuck did.
I didn't like that shit.
Was their sleeping situation in any way detrimental to their health? Did they have an adult around?
No, I always made sure that they were taken care of, man. Like, even Willow, that lady Willow.
I said, was their sleeping situation in any way detrimental to their health? And the reason why I asked that question was because in Slab City, right, that could be a reason why you would be charged with child endangerment, because you're putting the kids in a place where they're sleeping is endangering them. All right, so I asked that question in that way, and Mike answered, as you'll hear. Well, let's watch one more time for all those naysayers. Here we go. Situation in any way detrimental to their health? Do they have an adult around?
No, I always made sure that they were taken care of, man. Like, even Willow, that
he always made sure they were taken care of at bedtime. I wish you could see me taking this bow that I'm taking right now. But if you'd only just watched this video before you started making comments, you'd have known what, and I got to give David credit, what he and I did to Mike here tonight. Y'all, this is the be-all that ended all to Michael Dibble. This night was it for Michael Dibble. And a lot of you fucking hang on me about, I love you, Michael Dibble. You're a beautiful person. Yep, I did say it. But I'm also the one who asked him all these questions. I'm the one that got him on the record answering these questions. There's a method to my madness sometimes, and I wish that everybody could see it. It's okay that you don't. But maybe you'll see it in looking back and get that, like, this wasn't by accident. This was very much on purpose. And me and David worked hard to get him up here. He had promised us both he was going to prove his innocence with paperwork. And instead he walked into his own fucking guilt.
Lady Willow will say, like, the kids even went up to her. Hell, they even went up to Sandra. Even if Sandra was here, she would tell you, like, and said, we don't want to go home. We don't want to go home. And we never really understood it, but that's what they said to us, and it's like, fuck, man.
Right. And just for those who don't know who these kids are, they were the children of a drug-addicted homeless woman who was trading her own body for sure. That's documented by several accounts for goods and money and drugs. And then also, maybe, possibly, allegedly, trading those boys. All right, so she's in the 4th of July video, the famous 4th of July video that we get to see both the boys and their mother and Mr. Dibble. Golly, who else do we recognize? I think we see maybe Flux in the video every now and then. We see, you know who we see is Hoodoo Man. He's there. He's got the DJ booth set up, playing the music. And, but a lot of times Dibble's holding the camera. And those boys do end up in the video a lot. Like, he had a shot of those two guys running away to go play with another boy that lasted like 30 seconds. And I was just like, when they're not your own kids, why would you watch them run off into the distance like that? It's just kind of weird. Well, I wanted to ask, these are things that I think the overall, are you willing to say that the event in question was on the July 4th? Yeah. Was that the date that the event in question is? If you can understand Eddie, who's trying to overcome yet another goddamn bowl hit, he's asking if this happened on the 4th of July. Because there is a video of the 4th of July at the Goonie Farm camp that I just referenced. And that's what I'm asking him here, even though I'm coughing. About?
Supposedly, yeah.
Okay, so...
Yep.
So he's saying that the charges were brought on him based on events that happened at that 4th of July, or on the 4th of July, where we have video of that day, where the kids are there, and the mom is there, and Mike's there, and so on and so forth. They slept that night wouldn't matter, and is that Adobe nearby where they would sleep?
It's attached to the Adobe hut.
All right, there's some new people here. So, and your old channel is still up, right? Goonie Farm.
And I.
All right, before we get into this, Mike will definitely sell Adobe out, but that doesn't mean Adobe wasn't fucking wrong. Adobe's place was directly beside the hut that the kids stayed in, says Mike Dibble. And in the paperwork, when you read the paperwork that I was sent by Mike Dibble, and probably David was too, it describes the room that they were in when they were assaulted was described as the Adobe hut. So, like, they didn't call it the Adobe hut, not the kids, no. But their description of it was the same thing that the Adobe hut was. All right, there's some new people here. So, and your old channel is still up, right? Goonie Farm.
And I agree with Runwood Scissors. Willow is pretty fucking nuts, man.
Earlier, he tried to quote Willow to use her to prove that what he was saying was real. And now he is, and it's in this video right here that I'm talking in. You can rewind this video and hear him saying nice things about Willow. And now he's saying that she's pretty fucking nuts. I don't know her that well. Tommy said she was, though. And, I met Tommy and we hung out. And so and I said that Tommy said she was nuts because Tommy thinks the earth is flat. So there. He may, I respect his opinion in that way. Not really. So, what do you think about Nikki Bailey? Are you friends with Nikki Bailey? Because in the beginning, she was very much a big supporter of yours. And then... That's Denise Bailey, now otherwise known as Nikki. Yeah. For a long time, she was a very big supporter of Dibble. And then after the charges came out, she flipped. And that's what most people did. So no ill will toward, but that, we're here talking to him based on this idea that he doesn't have to register as a sex offender. He isn't bound by not being allowed to be on YouTube, right? So he's supposed to be here defiantly saying that the things that people think about him are not true. And here's what he said. Here in the last 6 months, he flipped.
It is what it is, man. I can't change anything.
Whatever.
Really
can't. No, you're right. Sure. Mike Dibble, did you rape little boys?
Fuck no.
Would you ever have sex with a child under the age of 18?
Hell the fuck no. Matter of fact, like, you can talk to really people that know me. I like older women.
Kathy Jones better watch out. Kathy Jones. All right, that was a joke we made, but the point was that the opposite of a younger boy is older women. Sandra, the girl he was seeing, was younger than him. The girl he in this video earlier admitted that he might have had sex with on the 4th of July was, I think, way younger than him. 20 years maybe younger than him. Close. We brought Michael Dibble to the edge where he could expose it all and say, I told y'all I was absolutely innocent. And he couldn't do it. All he did was prove he's a dibbler. And that was my last video about him. Last time I dealt with this dude. It was over. This was the last one. So when people bring him up, you're just bringing up this past thing that you don't want to go back and watch yourself to see how indeed the truth is that not only I, but also David, took down Mike Dibble. And that's just the truth. You got to admit it, because it's right here, black and white, red, white, brown, and blue, red, orange, green, yellow, blue, indigo, and violet. Mike Dibble got defeated by GJB.